Manga Sensei, The Forgotten Panels. The after-school art club was Kenji Tanaka's quiet kingdom. To his students, he was just Kenji Sensei, an old man with permanently ink-stained fingers and a gaze that seemed to be looking at a world long since faded. He'd often sit by the window, watching the seasons change, the ghost of a forgotten story in his eyes. Sake and Kato, tasked with cleaning the chaotic supply closet, saw it as an adventure. "Bet we find a fossilized paintbrush in here," Kato joked, wrestling with a stack of old canvases. But Sake, ever curious, reached deeper into the dusty recess. Her fingers brushed against smooth leather. "Kato, look." They cracked open the portfolio on the floor. Inside were not student doodles, but breathtakingly detailed manga panels. The action was explosive, the characters beautifully rendered, but every page was unfinished. "This art style," Kato whispered, his voice full of awe. "It's just like Shadow's Echo, the legendary manga whose author vanished 30 years ago." Sake giggled, pulling out a single panel. It showed a girl with her exact ponytail in school uniform, stumbling on the grand staircase near the library. "Hey, this artist drew me," she said, showing it to Kato. What a weird coincidence. The next day, Sake was rushing to return a stack of library books. Her mind elsewhere, her foot caught on a step of the grand staircase. Books flew into the air as she tumbled down. The scene was a perfect, shocking recreation of the panel. Kato ran to her side, his face pale. "Sake, the drawing. It was real." They raced back to the art room, hands trembling as they flipped through the portfolio. Kato stopped at one page. It depicted a boy with his own sharp features, kneeling by the fountain in the local park. In the drawing, a distinctive calico cat with a red, bell-adorned collar was rubbing against the boy's hand. They had to know. After school, they went straight to the park fountain. The minutes ticked by, and their hope began to fade. Then, a faint, metallic jingle reached their ears. Hiding under a bench was the calico cat, its red collar and bell unmistakable. It was lost and scared, but it cautiously approached Kato's outstretched hand. It wasn't a coincidence. The panels were windows into the future. They looked through the remaining sketches with a new sense of dread. There were glimpses of test scores, arguments between friends, a confession behind the gym. Then, they found one drawn with heavier, more desperate lines. The panel was dark and violent. It showed the school's old, disused bell tower cracking in half as a bolt of lightning struck it during a storm. At the base of the tower stood a single figure, their face and identity lost in shadow. The weather report for that night called for a severe thunderstorm. They ran, their hearts pounding, back to the art room. Kenji Sensei was there, staring at the empty space in the closet. He turned to face them, and there was no anger in his eyes, only a profound, ancient sadness. "So, you found my forgotten panels," he said softly. "There is a reason I never finished them." Sake held out the drawing of the bell tower. "Sensei, the storm is coming. We saw the cat, I fell on the stairs, it's all real. We have to stop this." Kenji Sensei took the page, his old, ink-stained hands trembling as he gazed at the shadowy figure he had drawn decades ago. "I drew that as a young man," Kenji Sensei said, his voice barely a whisper. "A premonition of my own end." He looked not at the door, but at a clean sheet of paper on his desk. He picked up a G-pen, its nib catching the light. "But a story is not over until the final panel is drawn. The future is not set until the ink is dry."